Train Manager Guide. This is a guide for the video game Train Manager. So I'm going to start over here on the upper left. You see that there is your account. It has your finances. Over here you have your marketing. So if you want to buy advertising, it will increase your reputation. There's also a subsidy, which I also recommend, and the Fair Dodger campaign. People have said that it's not profitable to use it, so I don't use it. And what the reputation is going to do is increase your reputation, which means you're going to sell more tickets, and the lobbying means that you're going to get some money from the government, and it's different for every line. I'm going to show you an example. If you click on a line, see over here it says subsidy, and then it says 34%. I don't know if you can see it clearly, but you look at the image and then it says the name of the line, the town, and then the next entry is subsidy. If you have a lot of lines, I would say it's definitely worth it. If you only have a few, maybe not so much. So what I do is when I play the game, I buy my advertising and I pay for the lobbying, and then I depart all of my trains. Okay, the stock exchange, it looks like I don't have the stock exchange yet, so we're going to calculate the cost. It's going through all the assets to give a valuation for the company. It's going to cost points, obviously. It costs 50 points, but I don't have 50 points. I only have 35. More on that later. So right now I cannot perform the IPO. If I click on it, it says here that it's not possible. So then the last option says finance, and you'll see you have income, and it says expenses, and it says summary, and you see it says 1 month ago, but after I depart the trains, we're going to come back to here and you're going to see that. So we're going to come over here to the points. See, it says I have a point balance, and it has all the different items that I can purchase with points. For example, spot lock capacity, I need to buy this. So there's a chance that when I get 40 points, I'm probably going to buy the spot lock capacity. Although I would also like to do the IPO. My recommendation is you look at fuel tank capacity. Spot lock capacity is more important. I have to recharge my spot lock like 20 times every time I depart all my trains, and my fuel I only have to do once. So my advice is skip fuel and focus on the spot lock. International and freight, I started in a big country, which is the United States, because I knew that I would be able to run a lot of routes. People ask which is better, freight or international. I would go with international, but it's just me because I like running all the routes. Freight, I don't have freight, so I don't know how it works yet. The VIP train, the 4 times speed, you don't waste your money on that. I don't know why they even have it as an option. And the optional maps, I would say that the max zoom is probably good, but it is expensive. So I do have the PC version. If you do the add points on the PC version, you're unable to do it. It's not available. And I've been playing this game for many months, and it hasn't been available for many months. Okay. So now we come over to the right. It shows your fuel, which is diesel or whatever other liquid fuel, and then the electricity. You prepay for your electricity. So the reason why is that you lock in the price. You get the electricity is consumed. It's delivered to you when you use it, but you pay the price in advance. It's basically it. And they deliver it to you when you're ready to use it. The fuel is kind of the same. You pay for the fuel and then they deliver it to you. When you click on the fuel, it opens up the fuel menu, and when you click on electricity, it opens up the electricity. We'll get more on that later. Over here we have any messages. You can see nobody has sent me any messages, and I have notifications. It shows if you purchase an item or if you sell something. Okay, so the fuel is also right here. It's the same exact menu. So now the next, oh, I'm sorry, I skipped a link. Over here we have the discussion board, and it's worth reading. People are asking good questions. We've got a new train that I haven't looked at yet. And you can see game guides over here. There are frequently asked questions. You can read through them. It's not going to give you that much information. Over here we have the language, optimized performance. You can reset your account by clicking on red. What that means, it's going to wipe everything. It's going to make it as if you're starting from zero. You're going to lose all the money that you earned, all of your trains, all of your stations, and if you bought anything, you're going to lose it. So don't reset your account unless you really know what you're doing. Now obviously there's a log out button. So over here we have the shop, which is the same link from when you click on points. It's identical. And then next is called company. You have information about your company, your staff, and high scores. So you can see I chose the easy mode because this was the first time I played it. Perhaps if I reset, maybe I would choose a difficult mode. And we've got, it shows that I have not paid for freight. My rank, I've been playing for 260 days. I have 130 trains, 126 routes because I've been running some trains on the same route. 0 trains have departed, and my staff is 356 people. This is my reputation. This is where your reputation's always going to be until you buy marketing. So that's just normal. And then the IPO. These are all the trains that I own, and these are my achievements at the bottom. Winning some of these achievements might give me some of the points that I need to get the IPO, for example. In terms of trains, the train that I like the most is called the Donavia X-Liner CX42. It carries like 1,000 passengers, and it's a decent price. So that's the one, that's my workhorse that I run on most of the lines. And I'm selling the smaller trains. I already sold all the smaller trains, except I have 2 more of the Transit Rapide. And I sell them and I replace them with more capable trains. I also have the Shinosuke F2, but unfortunately don't buy it. It's going to be a huge mistake for many reasons. Number one, very expensive. Number two, you cannot do the length of track because there's a limit of 15 stations, and you're going to hit that limit of 15 stations early. So you're going to have to run it on a short track. It's going to be equivalent to the Donavia. And not only that, you're not going to have enough electricity to depart the train. You're going to have to expand your electricity to depart the train or run it on a short track. I had to reduce it by like half, and I had to do a modification on the train to make it more fuel efficient in order to be able to depart the train. It took many hours to get it to work, and my advice is that it's a waste of time and you're not going to be happy with it. I only keep it so that I can make videos, but otherwise I would just sell it. So here's my staff. This is my salary. You can see that I can do pay raises if I want. That will make them happier. And I'm really not sure how it works, but I believe what the pay raise does, if they become unhappy, I think your reputation might go down. Fuel market consultant, I hired one and I did a video about it. You can watch my video. It's a waste of time. They basically tell you what the price is going to be, whether they think the price of fuel is going to go up or down, but you're not going to wait a half an hour to find out, especially if you have a large fleet. So it really was kind of a waste, and I did it for 24 hours. You can watch my video. I don't advise it. And then this is the high score. It shows all the rankings. Obviously, I don't play the game anymore because I have, so many trains running and I can't buy any points. So why continue playing? I've got some more lines I could run over here out in the west, and maybe I could do something up here in Maine, but I get tired of the gameplay. We'll get into that later. So now you have what's called the yard. These are the trains that I own. You can see you've got diesel, you've got electric. It shows you how many are electric, how many are diesel. You can increase the number of slots. There's a limit, and I don't know what the limit is. I've done this many, many times, so it's got to be a lot lower than 130. And I just pay it. I get up to the 100 million. I pay it every day or two. I get enough money to pay for it. And the freight, you need points. I don't have enough points. These are my routes. Unfortunately, because I have a lot of routes, it's kind of confusing. And it's not very useful to look at the routes. But this is what a route looks like. And the information that I need is not available. You can't move the window. And I want to see the route on the big map. I want to see it over here. In fact, it's covered up by this pink line. Because I don't know which lines I'm running on and which ones I'm not. So it's a little bit confusing. The information that I want is just not available in the game. You can obviously use the locate button, but then obviously the route screen is gone. So I'm going to come back to routes. And it shows the city, the type of train, some information about the train. You can do a repair. Very easy to do. You have to do each one individually. Once they get up to 80%, it forces you to do a repair. You can adjust these options to set the number for where you want to do your repairs, and you can sort by where, operating hours, etc. There's different options. You've got different types of trains. I can do select all. It's going to cost me 27 million. You know what? I don't have the money to do it, so I won't be able to do it. And the modify option, you go to route. You see over here it says modify. I apologize for the game being slow. So now it shows a specific train. And you see that you can adjust these when you're at your station. You can increase the range, and you can change the speed or the fuel efficiency. And I only did it for that Japanese high-speed train. For the other trains, I did not do it. So you see you can sell or scrap. Almost always, it's better price to scrap it. And over here it shows you the starting station and the ending station. It shows that it's passenger and not cargo, the distance, the number of stops. You can edit the stops. You can change the color of the line. I kind of just do it random, but you'll notice that Chicago is going to have a lot of purples in it. So a lot of the colors are going to be similar in my stations. You can change the name of the line. It should have given a better name. They tried to be, D-line is good if you're in the city of Chicago, but when you're looking at a map nationally, you don't know what the D-line is. It should say Chicago D-line. And then it has the history. Unfortunately, it doesn't fit properly on the screen, but it shows all the income you've made, and it seems to go back forever. You got to scroll it to actually see the income, which is on the right. And I do look at the income, and if I see that something isn't making any money, I do sell it and replace it with a different train. And you can change the name of the vehicle if you want to, which obviously I don't recommend. So you have which trains are en route, which ones have arrived. This is direct. It looks like I have one direct line, and then the ones that have stops, and then you've got ordering a new train. You have to have availability in order to order. You have to have an available slot in order to order a new train. And I recommend, wow, there's a lot of trains here. So there's some sorting options. You select the train you want to buy, and then you make the purchase. You do have to know what station you want to put it at. So there's some sorting options. You can look at diesel, you can look at electric. I usually go for capacity. Buy the biggest train that you can afford. You see, we got this Braidler Victor, which is that new one that was announced in the forum. But it is expensive. It's $50 million. And you can see that the Denali is only $29 million. It's almost half the price, and it does 1,000 passengers. It's pretty good. This train is a good choice. And when you get down to the next one that's cheaper, it doesn't have the capacity, so why buy it? So that's why I recommend the Denali. The range of 1,100 also makes it a better choice than the Braidler, which is only 730. So you want the range and you want the higher capacity. You could also sort by range, and you'll see that the Denali comes up number 2. So I guess this Samebird GPR 20 might be a good choice also. The range and the number of passengers are both pretty good. You use this button if it says you have a limit, and I don't have the money yet to buy more trains. So this menu I already showed you. It's the fuel menu. You can buy your fuel, which I can't do right now because they're full, and there's a link if you want to increase your capacity. I don't have the points to increase my capacity. Over here it shows the price. You can also look at the graph. Because I have a ton of money, I don't care what the price is. I just buy anything. Over here you've got the finance. We already spoke about this. It's the same as clicking on this button right here. And then over here you have something called service, which I also already showed you. This is for repairing a train or modifying it. So, for example, if you look at the Japanese train, did it disappear? Yeah, and again, I apologize that my internet is slow. You can see that I reduced the speed and increased the consumption. Actually, was that a mistake? No, I reduced the consumption. Because if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have been able to run the train because the capacity is so low. So over here on the left menu, You see it says manage stops, reroute, park, and select terminus. You can move it to another station. You can park it, which means it won't depart. You can reroute it, which from this station you pick a destination. For example, I could pick over here, and it shows all the stations. And you see I clicked on these, and maybe I can... I'm going to try and change that Japanese train. I seem to recall the Japanese train doesn't matter the distance. I don't remember. So I thought, well, I'm going to make the same amount of money, and it doesn't make a lot of money. It makes very little money. So I thought, well, if I run it a longer distance, I'm not going to make more money. I'm going to have to test it to make sure. I might give it a second chance. And then you got manage stops. You see it opens up the menu on the existing route. You can do direct route, which means it skips all the stops, etc. Okay, so that is the game. Over here we have the different layers, which I didn't pay for. You can turn all these icons on and off, obviously. Zoom in, that's the max zoom in, and zooming out. This is licenses for, I'm pretty sure this is the international license. And I seem to recall you only have to do it once. And if you did the United States, you're either going to want to do, obviously, Canada or Mexico. And then over here we have the light bulb, which is, it says research. And then it's showing information about the track and the different stations. So what I could do, obviously we've got Schenectady, which has a lot of people. I could probably run a train to that stop and bring in more passengers. So that is something that I could consider. And it's something I will do in a future video. Okay, so that is the guide. Actually, we'll click on this. It probably goes to the company information. We already went through this. That is my guide. I'm going to just go in real quick and tell you that that is a train icon. I'm going to do a few more things in this video. So you can see that that's a train. The little pin is the hub, but unfortunately it's difficult to click on. I'm going to click on a train. You see it pops up the train. You can click on the station. You can, and he shows that there's 4 tracks going through, 3 tracks going through here, but it looks like I've only got 1. Oh, it looks like there's 2. I don't know if this is connecting from another hub or not. You'll have to check on that. But it shows 3 tracks going through here. And the different colors, you're going to see, if you look in a place like Florida, you can get a good idea of what the tracks are like. You can see that some of the tracks cross over, some of them overlap or share stations. This is an example of a train that is parked at the destination, the distant destination, and these are obviously the ones that are parked at the main station. Some of the lines are very short. You're going to see that in New York. You can see we got some very short lines. I probably removed the Long Island line because it was too short, and I probably ran the train on a longer line just to bring in more passengers. Okay, so I am going to depart all of my trains. You click over here, you see you've got en route, I got nothing. These are the trains that need to depart. These are the trains that I just purchased. that are at a station and need a route. Routing is a little complicated. It takes a little bit of time to figure out which routes are available. I might not do it, and these are the ones that are pending maintenance, or maybe you purchased it and you're waiting for delivery. So when you depart, the first thing you want to do is go to your finance, and then you go to marketing, and then you go to general reputation. My trains, in 5 hours, I can depart them twice. So I'm not going to increase the duration. I'm just going to pay, depart them, check a few hours later, depart them again with the 49% market reach. And then you click Start Campaign, and you'll see that my reputation went up to 95%. I'm then going to pay for lobbying for 5 hours because, like I said, I'm going to be able to depart my trains twice. I adjusted the time for my trains so that they all kind of arrive at the same time. So now you see I've got a better reputation. I've got some marketing, which is going to double the amount of money I'm making. And then you click Depart All. It shows how much money I made, how many trains departed. I don't have enough fuel, so I have to buy fuel. If you're just starting out, you want the fuel to be cheap, which means below the average. Whatever the average is, get it cheap. Right now, the diesel fuel is kind of high. And then I come over here and I click Depart again. And I have to do this like 20 times to depart all of my trains. You'll notice it didn't use any diesel. And I keep doing this over and over again. Depart, you see that the icon depletes, and then I click on this, I fill it to the max, I click Purchase, I go and depart again. The prices usually change every half an hour. It gives an error. It says some trains could not be departed. It only means that my fuel capacity is low, which is this over here, the yellow bar. So you have to do multiple departs. And it is a pain. I probably purchased the fuel capacity for the gasoline, the diesel, and it was a mistake. Actually, maybe it wasn't a mistake, but definitely use a lot more electricity than fuel. And you're going to see it takes a long time. It might take me 10 minutes to depart all of my trains. In order to run the game, it might be available on Steam, but what I do is I run the game Airline Manager 4 from Steam. And then I go to the lower right corner on the PC and it says bonus. And then you click on that and you go to the right tab, the upper right tab. And then it says our other games or something like that. And then you can launch the game. I don't know if you can see it, but if you can see it on screen right now, I have Airline Manager 4 loaded. I go to the lower right, and then I click on the duty free, and then you see Train Manager Play Now. And you can play also Energy Manager and Shipping Manager. Now I don't know how to get back to the game. Okay, so I can't get back to Train Manager, unfortunately. It's not opening it up. So that's Train Manager, and check out my playlist. I have a lot of videos about everything you need to know about how to play the game. This is a Train Manager guide. You can go to my discussion forum, which is cheapbooks.cc. Go to video games, go to transportation games, and then look for Train Manager. And you can see tips and other information about the game. And I am the owner of cheapbooks.com, which is a website for buying books and textbooks. You know what? I don't think I'll be able to pull up the discussion forum because of the way the video recording works. So I'm going to continue doing this. And it is very tiring. And then after you do this, you go through the button that says Yarded, which is over here on the lower left. And I have 4 trains waiting that need to be routed. I'm going to ask you to please look at my other videos on how to route, because routing is kind of complicated and I spend a lot of time. See how it only departed like one? It says 6 trains. It looked like only one. It takes a long time to route, and I take my time doing it. I don't do it in a hurry. And because I have so many routes already, it's kind of difficult to do. You can see how much money I had at the start of the video. It was around 10 million. So you can see that I made around 16 million from 130 trains, which means that I have to play 8 days before I can expand. In this case, it only departed one, which was probably the Japanese bullet train. And because it only used a little bit of electricity, I usually don't do anything. You'll notice that it did not depart any more diesel trains. So it takes a long time, and I want to be very careful about how I route everything. Because you see there's 1, 2, 3, 4. You don't want to duplicate a route if you don't have to. So you see that we've got a route over to here, which is 185. It's very short. But the reason why I'm doing it is because I can carry all the passengers with this train. And you see that I don't already have a train on it. So routing is a pain on a big city. But you can see over here I could run to Louisville. This train can do it. It's got the distance. And you'll see that my existing train doesn't go all the way to Louisville. So this will go further than my existing train. So we're going to look at some other options. We've got this one here. But I've already got a train that looks like it's running on it. And then we've got something down to here, here, and here. We've got at least 3 more lines. And then we've got one over here. So we've got the one that hooks back, the one that goes halfway in south, and the one that goes across. So you see we got the one that hooks back, the one that comes and goes down, but it doesn't go, oh, maybe it overlaps, and then we got the one that goes across. So the only one that's missing is that short line over here. But again, this one will carry all the passengers. It is an expensive train. I'm going to run it and see what it does. If it brings in a lot of cash, then it's definitely the right move. So it's going to do it in 1 hour. The demand is 12,000. My train only carries 1,000. So it's a good decision. I'm going to check direct route. You can see that even with a direct route, it can carry everybody. And that's the daily demand. So 1 hour, if I run it for 12 hours, in half a day I'll deplete the demand. But I'm not going to run it 12 times today. So I'm going to click the next. I usually only do like 2 or 4 departs a day. And then I am going to keep the prices as they are, and I am going to create the route. You see it showed up here in purple. And then I'm going to depart. You see it made 121,000. So then you go to yard and you go to fleet and you click over here. And I'm going to take the Chicago and I'm going to do all details. And then I'm going to do show history. Remember the other train, 121,000. This one is doing 400,000. That means that my other train not making enough money, which means that the distance is probably taken into account. That 128,000, I paid 29 million for that train. It's going to take months for that money, for that train to break even, or maybe weeks. So be cautious with your purchases. Because I got a ton of money, I got a huge fleet, and I make so much money, I made 16 million just from departing my fleet. I don't got to worry about it. But when you're starting out, you got to worry about it. I do plan on making a video with advanced tips that shows all the things you learn when you get deeper into the game. This is Train Manager Guide. If you have, oh, you know what? I think there is something I can do. I think I can. It doesn't show Avast. There it is. Okay, this is my discussion forum. And you go to Transport Management Games, which is under Video Games PC. Obviously, the same tips are going to work with cell phone. And you see over here, I have the Train Manager forum. I have the tips that I wrote and some information about some of the trains. So as I play, I put in tips, and I use these when I make future videos. You can see information that might be used in a future video. So let's see how the tips are. I don't think there's that many. But these are the tips, and I'm going to add more tips here on the bottom. Okay, so that is Train Manager Guide. If you have any questions or comments, please post below.